the things we should do is accept what the framers of the Constitution wanted?
I think we should accept the Constitution instead of wiping our asses with it, like you seem to be wanting to do right
so
here.
given that they thought that there was a tyranny of democracy, then the majority of your opening statement that talked about the real problem with Christian nationalism is that it is negative to democracy, they would dispense with that, correct?
It is. I mean, we're a democratic republic, so.
But they did not want democracy.
We're a democratic republic.
That's define what the founding is. Define what the define what the Constitution said. What a democratic republic was. Go ahead.
I mean, I know what a democratic republic is.
Tell me what the founding fathers said. Tell me.
No. Well, you're wording this in a very, very curious way here. Like what the founding fathers said and what a democratic republic is can be two different things.
Okay, so then we should be concerned with what the founding fathers said and not what your definition of a democratic republic is, correct?
No, I think that we should work off of what a democratic republic is and what the Constitution actually is.
Why? If your interpretation of a democratic republic is different than the founding fathers entailed, why should we prefer your definition?
I mean, my definition is going to match how the Constitution is set up.
Okay,
and I care about what's written in the Constitution. Why don't you care about what's written in the Constitution?
I do, and the word democracy.
No, you don't.
Of course
seem to not.
That's
no, because you talked about how this nation was built for white people, white Europeans, and you're being racist and xenophobic as fuck about Zoran Mandami, who's gonna win in New York. I don't give a fuck whether or not George Washington would have thrown up at his fucking whatever mansion he had over there in Virginia, wherever the fuck he lived. I don't give a shit if he would vomit every single day because Zoran Mandami is mayor of New York. I really don't care.
Repeal the 19th.
Care about is the fact that there are no religious tests for any for any elected official in America. That's how the Constitution's set up. That's how our democratic republic is set up.
So what I said.
So you know what's funny is that this dude right here, he's trying to appeal to the Constitution. No, but that's not what the Constitution says. Why do you want to spit on the Constitution? Wipe your ass at the Constitution like that? But then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, but go Zoran Mamdani. I don't give a shit what George Washington thinks about it. If he would be, spitting in his grave or anything. And it's like, oh, okay. So on one hand, you're trying to appeal the Constitution, which was written by our founding fathers. But on the other hand, you don't care what our founding fathers think if Zohran Mamdani gets elected, which sadly he did.
It was what the founding fathers would think of people from the Islamic religion.
And I don't give a fuck.
Please.
And I don't give a fuck. That does not matter. Okay. That does not matter.
Sorry, Mrs. D. Sorry. I'll try to do better. Good to see you, by the way.
I understood that was your point. And what I said was, if we're accepting what the founding fathers thought that were the framers of the Constitution, they wouldn't be happy with people like that. That doesn't make any claims.
That doesn't.
Please, let me finish. Please, that doesn't make any claims of what I think about people's. That doesn't. Okay, bud. That doesn't make any. It doesn't.
Your entire point is moot for this entire conversation. Okay. Because that does not matter as far as how the Constitution is written and what is allowed via the Constitution. Now, my question is, why don't you care about what's written in the Constitution?
I'll finish my point. So the point I was making is it's not what I'm saying, what I think racially about people. It's what the founding fathers would say, right? And that's what I said. The conversation was about there's nothing more American nationalist than being of a mixed race and mixed culture. The reason that I wouldn't want someone like Mamdani being elected is because I don't particularly want people of the Islamic faith when we see a tradition around the world of what happens when we have political Islam and what happens with it. Do you favor political Islam as a secular humanist?
I don't think that Zohran Mandami practices the extremist Islam that you're trying to reference as political Islam. But still, none of this actually matters because whether or not somebody practices Islam, Buddhism, or Dudism, it doesn't matter as far as being elected, being an elected official.
To the question of a democratic republic, what the founding fathers entailed, I don't know if you knew this, when it came to democratically electing our politicians,
what's written in the Constitution?
Please, when it came to democratically electing the people in our federal
what's written in the Constitution?
Why does this dude keep trying to appeal to the Constitution when he himself said he doesn't give a shit about what our founding fathers think? But he keeps appealing to the document that they fucking wrote. So why does he keep appealing to it? He said himself he doesn't care.
Yes. Okay. Who was democratically elected? Tell me what was written in the Constitution. Go for it.
Okay. A democratic republic. I'll just read the definition.
No. That wasn't my question.
That combines the principles of both a republic and a democracy operating through a system where elected representatives make decisions on behalf of the people. So we elect representatives who then make decisions on behalf of a greater people. Now, I'm not under the disillusionment that America has ever been a pure democracy, which I'm guessing is what the founders were actually opposed to. So I don't think that we should be a pure democracy, but I mean, I think that a democratic republic is what we have, how our Constitution is set up, and that's how we should probably operate.
You read a generic definition of the term democratic republic. I asked you specifically what representatives were elected through a democratic means under the Constitution by the framers.
But well, see, you're contextualizing it to the framers. Like, just because all white
the original
people were voted in at the, you're being racist as fuck yet a fucking again.
I mean,
is that how you live your life? Do you just walk outside and you're just racist to every person of color on the road?
Dude, it's so wild. Still hearing this. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this culture war isn't over by a long shot. You still have people like this jackass here accusing Rob of being racist at every chance he gets. I thought we left this shit behind, but we haven't. These people are still here.
Is that how you live your life?
Go so personal with it, please. We're having a debate.
I mean, he's being racist. Like, this is entirely racist. Him focusing on the points that he's focusing on instead of actually backing up his own argument here about how Christianity can actually benefit America. He's instead pivoting to his white Christian nationalist sort of base, and he is trying to establish that America is only for white people, which is racist as fuck. I'm just labeling it. I'm just asking clarifying questions. Like, are you pro-slavery?
No, I'm not pro-slavery, and what I'll say is you're not just asking clarifying questions. You're definitively saying I'm racist. The specific point that I'm making here that you're being racist. The specific point that I'm making here that you're incapable of answering because you don't know is it was only.
I've answered it.
Please, you haven't answered anything. Right?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've said that your point is pointless. It does not matter.
The point that I was making is that the founding fathers and the way the Constitution is written, the only democracy involved, which is a word that wasn't used in the Constitution, was we got to elect members of the House of Representatives. We did not get to elect members of the Senate. We did not get to vote for the president. Somehow you're saying that that is racist. That not only is that racist, but it proves I'm a racist by highlighting what our founding fathers thought when they talked about a democratic republic. Can you explain to me why that's racist?
That's a straw man.
That's not. You said that me making this point and asking you this question of which politicians were elected through democracy
so you started
was
off by
being
saying,
racist.
I want you to tell me
how that's racist. Go ahead.
I clarified that just because they would have voted in all white people does not mean that we should continue to vote in all white people. This is playing off of something that you said when we started the open discussion portion, and that's that, or maybe it was part of your opening statement, that this nation was set up for white Europeans. And so that's what I'm playing off of here. That's what led me in the direction that I went to for you contextualizing it with the founders. Now, I don't believe in operating on what the founders originally wrote in the Constitution, because we've amended it, and they also wrote the Constitution so that it could remain a living document, so that it can be changed, and so that it can change with our society. And it has changed with our society. So I don't care how it was originally written. I do care about how it's operating now, and how our Constitution works now. So unless you have something to actually substantiate your claims that Christianity can somehow benefit America, this entire front-loaded section right here is just pointless to your overall argument.
Your filibustering is unimpressive. I sit here patiently and let you talk while you filibuster and interrupt me. What happened was, due to your efforts to interrupt and filibuster, you didn't understand the point I was trying to make, which was to say specifically.
I'm sorry, can I get tacos in here? Can you define mega bloodbath in the open discussion portion?
It's it's a back and forth. Ideally, y'all are having a good conversation. They do get a little bit heated, but do try to avoid the personal attacks, right? And cussing each other out, right? But we're trying to debate the topic at hand. Is Christian nationalism good for America? And ideally, each side is presenting points in favor or against, and you're having a good conversation, you know?
Yeah, these lefties seem to think that bloodbath just means, oh, you can interrupt each other. But it's like, well, how can we hear both points, even if it's a bloodbath debate or what have you? Well, how is it productive if we can't hear what both sides think? If one person's constantly interrupting the other one, that's the thing. It's like, well, it doesn't just mean, oh, I could just interrupt you whenever you want because, oh, it's mega bloodbath.
Yeah, none of that said that the reason that you thought that I was being racist when I asked you the specific question of what the democracy portion was of Democratic Republic in the foundation of our Constitution was, and that we only directly voted for the House of Representatives, you shouting at me that that proves I'm racist because you continued to interrupt instead of actually listening to what I said, thus proving furthermore that your embracement of something such as secular humanism actually isn't rooted in rational discussion, but it's rooted in sort of an irrational ability to smear your opponent as something that they're not exhibiting that they are whatsoever, in this case racist. It's done by
Gorilla Biscuits. I didn't see it. This is the first time I'm actually watching. Like I said, I saw bits and pieces, but I didn't see the whole thing. But I've been told by a few people that this guy, because I brought up Godless Engineer that in his previous debates he always appeals to his wife. Like his wife is like sitting off screen, and he's always like talking with her. She's feeding him stuff or whatever. And so I made a joke like, "Oh, I wonder if he still does that or not." And people confirm like, "Yep, he still does that." So I was laughing, but yeah.
you in an attempt to discredit the arguments that I'll make throughout this debate because you think you can morally impugn me, which shows that you're actually operating in a more irrational system than what you would even claim Christianity is, because there's no logical basis to what you're saying whatsoever.
Christianity supported slavery and the founders supported slavery. Do you think that we should continue to have slavery now?
No, we have amendments and fought a war over
This is yesterday.
slavery. I asked you
Okay,
specifically.
then why are we fucking talking about
because-
what the founders originally wrote, how they originally intended anything? Why do we even care about that fucking point? then?
Because you answered in the affirmative when I asked you that you thought it was important that we went with what the Constitution and the framers intended.
No.
Yes, that's what you did.
If I said what the framers intended, as far as the framers intended a living document to change over time. That's what that is. You are trying to, I don't know, are you an originalist? Like, do you think that we should only do things that the framers would do? Like, I'm totally confused by your entire opening.
No, I asked you specifically how important you thought the foundational document, the Constitution, and the framers were, and you said that that's something we should follow. And then that's when I said,
and
that's real quick. Let me finish. Let me finish.
You were bringing
real quick, and that's why I said. That's why it wasn't.
They would have voted.
It is not irrelevant.
This nation was meant to.
Please let me finish. I'll refresh your memory of how this came about. I then said, well, seeing as how you keep using the word democracy and it wasn't written in the foundational document, like you would agree.
Have to be written in the foundational documents because it's described in the foundational documents.
Okay, so let's ask you this. You see.
Oh yeah, I know, Rad. I know. Where I was talking about earlier in the stream. Good to see it, by the way.
To think democracy is very important. Yes.
I mean, we have a democratic republic, and I believe that's important. Yeah.
But you talked about the importance of securing democracy, i.e., all of us having a vote, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then, for example, if the majority of this country were Christians and voted that they wanted Christian theology to be part of our country, why wouldn't
wait a minute, Josh? Was it on Max's stream? Because I know Max is the one that usually holds the post-debate cope streams. Was it on Max's stream? Oh, I gotta check that out. If that's the case.
That be anti-democratic to say that they're not allowed to do that?
Because the Constitution in the First Amendment says that you can't promote one religion or another, over another. So that would be a violation of the First Amendment.
So then you would say that democracy doesn't matter in that effect. That authoritarianism of the government saying you can't do this is okay.
The Democrat, that's probably. I mean, people can vote for it, but the fact that the First Amendment precludes it means that vote is in vain.
Okay,
but it doesn't mean that they.
Okay, so it's on Taco stream. It's just open panel. Okay, all right. I mean, I'll check that out.
Can't vote for it.
So
they
what
can vote
exactly?
For it all they want to.
So what exactly did I propose that the First Amendment wouldn't allow in my version of Christian nationalism?
I took notes. I've got like a fucking fuck ton of notes here. I guess I'm not like elected officials. It seems to me like you only think that there should be a faith test for office. Is that correct?
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all.
You think that elected officials should base laws on the Bible, which in some sense seems to indicate that they should be Christian.
I believe that our policies that we put forth should be rooted in the moral foundations of Christianity, and we should promote Christian
Which moral
leaders.
foundations?
We should push Christian leaders into positions of power to enact laws that are based on that. And seeing it's how Christians are the majority of this country, that wouldn't be anti-democratic, nor am I aware of
It would be
anything. Let me real
anti-democratic.
quick, nor would there be anything in the Constitution that I'm aware of that would make this illegal.
Yes, it would be illegal.
What
The
part
First
of that's
Amendment does.
illegal?
The
We're not
First
allowed
Amendment.
to openly be Christian and say Christianity influences our political decisions if we're in office?
No, you could say that, but if the entire reason why you're making a law is because the Bible says, then that would be a violation of the First Amendment.
That's not true. Tell me where it says that I can't do that.
I mean, you can't promote one religion over another. So, like, if you have a law and the only reason why that law is because of the Bible, that's promoting one religion over another.
Would you acknowledge that my religion would just be my moral foundational principles?
I mean, you could say that your foundational principles are influenced by that. Yeah, sure.
Okay, when you want a policy passed, is it because of your moral foundational principles?
I would say so, but my moral foundation is supported by reason and evidence, whereas the only evidence that you have is the Bible says. Now, and let me go back to my slavery thing.
That's not true.
The
Let me go
Bible
back to my
supports
slavery.
Has God condoning
Oh,
slavery?
God.
So if you were to, if we were to become a Christian nationalist nation, would you be fine if slavery was re-implemented?
No, I think that slavery is bad, nor do I think that Christianity, although
Okay,
there are
well,
times in the Bible, in
Yeah.
the Bible where it's mentioned, nor do I think that the New Testament encourages or allows slavery. I don't believe that's the case.
Oh yeah, Zoran Mamdani, projected winner. Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Fuck
Anyways,
Christian nationalism.
This atheist right here just celebrated that Zohran Mamdani, a Muslim, just got elected mayor of NYC. Oh, this atheist here, right? Who doesn't believe in any religion, right? We all just came from nothing and my preferences and all that stuff. Oh yeah. But he celebrates when a Muslim gets elected mayor. But fuck Christian nationalism, right? It's kind of like when you're talking to a centrist and they seem to agree with everything the lefties say. It's kind of like that, right?
The fact that you say that you're based in rationality, I think this debate already shows that's not the case. You've already been spurging out that I'm a racist with no evidence whatsoever by merely talking about the founding fathers.
I made my evidence clear. My evidence was you said that this nation was set up for white Europeans and for Christian people.
It's true.
That's white Christian nationalism, which is racist inherent.
That's not even what I said I embrace. We were talking about a tradition of American, what it meant to be an American and being mixed race. And I said the founding fathers wouldn't have seen it that way. That's all I said. I didn't say that there is no part of me whatsoever that would embrace any sort of ethnic requirement whatsoever to be not only in this country, but to be a politician or even at the highest positions. In fact, the person I supported for president was Vivek
Can I maybe
Ramaswamy.
suggest a different way for you to approach this? Because maybe you should have approached it like, now this is how the framers or the original founding fathers would have seen it, but this isn't necessarily my view. They set it up to be a white Christian nationalist nation. Otherwise, it came across as you saying this nation was set up as a white Christian nationalist nation, and that's how it should remain. That's how it came across.
I appreciate the advice. May I give you some advice? Instead of assuming what someone's doing and spurging out and screaming over them that they're racist, perhaps listen to what they're saying before you make those proclamations. Now, you make this point about
spurging out. I don't know why you're trying to project onto me like
you
this.
make this point about democracy. When gay marriage was passed, was that democratic? Was there a democratic vote on that?
It was done through the Supreme Court.
Okay, but that's not democracy.
I mean, it's part of our democratic republic. We've got 3 branches of government. The Supreme Court, it's clearly set up in the Constitution that the Supreme Court makes a ruling and that ruling becomes law.
So you would say that if the court rules on something, even if the majority of people don't like it, that's okay? That's still democratic?
I mean, but the majority of people are fine with it.
But they weren't at the time that gay marriage was legalized. So was
I'm
that
not too sure about
authoritarian?
that.
No, that's definitely true.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me just double check this real quick. Was marriage equality supported?
While you look at, you don't have to talk as you don't have to talk as you type.
Because this is like really easy to like look up. And
I mean, you don't have to talk as you type. That's okay. But while you do that, I just.
I don't know, that was really funny. Rob telling him, you don't got to talk while you type. He's like, yeah, I know, but it helps me type. I gotta type every letter now. Okay, all right. THESIC. That was funny. It's like I wonder if he reads while also reading out loud too. You know, with the finger pointed at each word.
Just want to get some clarification that even if the majority of people were against something, if the court rules on it, you say that's okay, that's not authoritarian or anti-democratic? A simple yes, no, or will suffice.
No, I don't think that it's authoritarian because it's ruled by, you know, our three branches of government.
Okay, so when you
So
said
like
that,
in that case, like the Supreme Court rules that marriage equality is legal, right? And so let's say that everybody doesn't like it. Well, then they vote for their respective representatives, and their representatives get into office, and then they change the law because that's what the Supreme Court does. The Supreme Court interprets the law that's on the books and says what is legal and what isn't legal, right? So they change the law in the government so that it will become illegal.
so then when you said that the Supreme Court overruled Roe v. Wade and that was
Yes,
authoritarian,
marriage equality was supported by a majority of Americans.
Let me finish.
When it was
Let me
legalized
finish.
nationwide in
Let me
June 26,
finish, right?
2015.
Let me finish. So when you said that when the court overruled Roe v. Wade and the majority of people didn't like that and therefore it was an authoritarian, you misspoke in your opening statement?
I didn't actually mention Obergefell, but I would say that
Can you bring up your slides again,
I did-
please?
Okay.
You specifically said that the majority of people were for abortion rights and it was authoritarian that the Supreme Court overruled it when the president hadn't won the popular vote. That's what you said. Correct?
Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
Oh my gosh, this cringe secular humanism slide. Ugh. Same talking points that they always do. Creates conditions for all people to flourish through human dignity, rational inquiry, and equal rights. Always same old stuff.
Hold on. Let's see.
How do you not remember what you wrote?
Because there's a lot on this fucking presentation.
Well, you don't know off the top of your head whether or not that's a claim you would have made?
No, I don't know the specific wording because you're being very specific
Well,
about
this isn't
it.
it, the specific wording's not relevant.
Like today.
Okay, the specific word, well, then it should be fresh in your memory. The specific wording's not relevant. It seems to be that you intuited that it was somehow authoritarian for the Supreme Court to overrule abortion because the majority of people supported it. That's what you said, right?
I'm still looking it up.
I mean, this is troubling that you don't even know what your own position is. You have to justify.
No. You're straw manning me at every at left and right here because I already told you, and if you quit being disingenuous, then I'm looking up the very specific words that I use so that I know whether or not to correct myself.
That's not true.
Okay?
That's not true. You know
No,
the spirit.
it is. Totally
you know
true.
the spirit.
That's exactly what I said.
You know the spirit of what you said. And so I'm asking, you shouldn't have to look that. I know the spirit of everything I said in my opening statement. I just wrote it today as well. In fact, it was just 4 or 5 lines on a piece of paper.
4 or 5 lines on.
Dude, this is embarrassing. This is absolutely embarrassing. Man, you would think that after all this time, Godless Engineer would have improved, but no. It's almost as if the worldview shit, it's all shit. No matter how good of a debater you are, it's still going to be shit. But this dude hasn't improved at all from what I've seen.
You want to see it?
Okay.
I can show you.
No,
I just wrote like flashcards.
Right. And I obviously came more prepared than you.
It does not show it. You don't even know what your opening statement said.
No.
Well, the dude can't even type without talking. So, I mean, I think that tells you everything.
I do know what my opening statement said. I don't have it memorized.
He seems to know it.
Like,
I mean, Rob Noerr seems to know his opening statement better than he does. And he's the one who wrote it. And I didn't see the opening statement, but I could see when they put up their little slides and stuff. He got all the slides ready and everything. And he doesn't remember anything about it? Nothing at all?
How fucking petty are you, Rob?
Okay, well, you say this then.
Really
regardless of what your opening statement said.
Let's take a step back. So why don't you clarify your position, John? And then let's go back into the topic. I've got a few super chat questions, so we can look at one of the super chat questions. And then get back on topic.
I'll just say this. I'll ask this. Maybe we get it. Regardless of what your opening statement said, fine. Will you acknowledge that if I had heard, whether correctly or erroneously, that you said it was authoritarianism and anti-democratic for the Supreme Court to overrule Roe v. Wade because of the fact that the majority of people would have been against that, that's incorrect? That's not what you actually believe. Is that fair?
So I said the minority rule was instrumental in the Supreme Court's recent term, where conservative Christian justices appointed by a president who lost the popular vote overturned abortion rights despite overwhelming public support. So what this is undermining democratic institutions and minority rule. And this is not about authoritarianism. So no, I did not call it authoritarianism.
Okay, but how is this undermining democracy if you just explained to us thoroughly, even if democratically people would vote against a position, the Supreme Court ruling on it, in fact, any of the three branches doing anything, is part of our democratic republic system and therefore wouldn't be anti-democratic? It seems that you've contradicted yourself here.
No, it's not contradictory. This minority rule was instrumental in the Supreme Court's recent term, where conservative Christian justices appointed by a president who lost the popular vote overturned abortion rights despite overwhelming public support. So there's overwhelming public support, and then the minority rule.
What's minority rule? Define that.
Well, the minority making a decision for the majority.
So in other words, because 5 justices on the Supreme Court made a decision, that's anti-democratic.
I think that the way that the Supreme Court was stacked, it definitely was anti-democratic.
So just this court is anti-democratic. This court's illegitimate?
Sure. No, I didn't say it was illegitimate, but the way that it's structured is very anti-democratic. Yeah.
Okay, but wouldn't all courts be anti-democratic in the sense that none of us get to vote for any of the justices?
No, because we can then vote for people, just like what's happening tonight. I'm just, as an example of what I was saying, as we're talking tonight, there.
Rob realized that this dude is a joke and that he has him. Like, this has been like an absolute cakewalk. Like, it's just absolutely embarrassing. Like, I feel like Rob doesn't even have to really try. This is like, seeing like The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin just take on a jobber.
There's literally a blue wave going on in all of the elections that are currently happening, in the states that are holding elections. So just a wave of things here. So there was unpopular shit that happened, right? People went to the polls, they voted for Democrat leaders so that those Democrat leaders could then go in and change things the way that they wanted them to. That is how it's supposed to work. Now, was I happy with the decision by the Supreme Court about Roe v. Wade? No, I obviously wasn't. But I also did not at any point claim that it was an anti-democratic or anything like that. But I do think that the Supreme Court is structured in a way that it allows the minority of the USA to make decisions for the majority against what the people actually want, because the people actually approve of Roe v. Wade. People actually approve of having abortion access. So that is an undermining of the will of the people.
So again, what happens is you've waffled on this several times. When we said that
I haven't waffled at all.
Please,
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Sit here quietly, let you. When we said that it may have been against the will of the people when they made same-sex marriage legal, you said, well, it wouldn't matter because these institutions are part of our democratic republic and therefore it wouldn't be anti-democratic. And then as soon as Roe v. Wade, which you mentioned in your opening statement, is overruled, you say that it is anti-democratic because there's something uniquely about this court that you don't like. And it seems that you're just being subjective, as is the case with secular humanism and your morality,
Actually,
that you apply in a subjective sense is what you're doing.
We could all see, we could see, not that the process was anti-democratic.
How is it anti-democratic to kick it back to the state so that people could vote on abortion? How's that anti-democratic? Isn't that more democratic?
No, it's not more democratic.
Okay, so who got to vote?
We're part of a federal system, and that federal system has to provide some very base level protection of rights, and part of those rights should be the right to abortion.
Okay, you might think that, but did you get to vote on that?
I mean, I would vote on it, but I'm in Alabama.
But you didn't get to vote on it when Roe v. Wade was the law of the land. The court decided that without one vote.
Right. Roe v. Wade was the law of the land.
Correct.
And that's the reason why the Democrats were lazy as fuck to actually codify it in the law. They should have codified it in the law, and they didn't, because they were moderate fucking centrist little spineless shitheads is what they were, and they should have codified it in the law, but they didn't, and that's the reason why it's gone now. And so I disagree with that, but it's not that I think that the process is anti-democratic. I think that the structure, like, are you just deficient in that you can't understand what I'm saying?
No, I am understanding. You're literally using the wrong criticism of your complaint of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. You could say that it was more democratic to allow people to vote on it. You just said in your own words.
We're not even discussing the fucking topic at this point.
Let me finish. You said in your own words, the Democrats didn't even put it up for a vote. They didn't even do legislation because they're cowards. Right. No one voted on it. Now, after Roe v. Wade, people then got to vote for representatives that voted on it. In some states, they actually got to vote for the measure itself on the ballot. That is, by any definition, more democratic.
No, I think that it would be just as democratic for us to vote on it with our elected officials and have our elected officials make it a law. Like, I think that's just as democratic as everybody directly in this pure democratic form that you seem to be advocating for some reason, which I just want to point out, you're totally fucking wrong about 2015. In 2015, the majority of people in the United States supported legalized gay marriage, and also for the longest time, people have supported the right to abortion, even now.
Again, you're fundamentally misunderstanding what democracy means. People
fundamentally
voting.
Not even
You're misunderstanding. You're misunderstanding what democracy is. Now, the reason that we bring up democracy, the reason that we're bringing up was that was seemingly the only offensive position you had against Christian nationalism. I talked about how Christian nationalism would be important to solve birthrights. I talked about how it'd be important for cohesion, how it would be important for sort of the majority opinion, how it would be important to solve things like abortion and other things that are moral and would lead to a happier society, that Christians tend to be happier in the United States. Your attack,
do you think
real
women
quick,
treated as
real
property
quick,
is
your
do you
attack,
think women being treated
your
as
attack
property
against that
is
was
happening?
your attack against it was authoritarianism, violence, and anti-democracy.
All these people have is just their lefty talking points, you know? What would he just say? Treating women as property. Like, okay, what? So we don't want abortions that's treating women as property now?
We've dispensed with the democracy bullshit. Okay.
No, we haven't.
Okay. Yes,
I mean, I don't think that
have.
I don't think that it's central to the topic at hand. You seem to be wanting to make it a central topic, but
if the majority of people in this country are Christian and vote to want that religion to be the foundational principles of the laws that are passed, why wouldn't it be anti-democratic to not allow them?
Exactly.
Because
Cope laugh.
Because it's part of our Constitution. If you want to vote,
show me where it says that. Show me in the Constitution.
First Amendment.
Show me.
Okay, what if everybody wanted to change the Constitution, and we had to vote on it? And it's like, okay, we make Christianity a national religion. What would he have against about it? Why would he be against that, huh? By the way, why does he care what the Constitution says? He doesn't even care about the founding fathers.
Read the First Amendment. Read the
First
First Amendment and tell me where it says that I can't say I'm voting against abortion because I'm a Christian. Tell me where it says that.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, what I explained as Christian nationalism is that we elect Christians that vote on policies based on their religion and morality.
Everything that you're talking about, you're jumping from one topic to one topic to one topic and acting like they're all the exact same topic.
That's not true. I've been clear the entire time. I made this point earlier. I want you to show.
Trying to leave a bar.
Can you steel man what I said Christian nationalism is? What my interpretation of it is? Can you?
Fuck no, I can't.
Right, because you're not listening. Nothing I said about saying that we will elect people that are Christians that adapt a Christian moral framework in their legislation. Nothing about that is outlawed in the Constitution or the First Amendment. Show me where it is.
Rob, that's too many words for him. That's the problem. How can you expect him to steel man your argument when you're just saying too many words, too many fancy words for him? The dude talks when he types. Come on, Rob.
No, what I said was that you cannot make laws purely based on the Bible.
That's not true. Show me where it says that.
No, yes.
Sure,
no,
show me where it says that.
In the First Amendment, it says that you can't promote one religion over another.
Show me. Read the First Amendment where it says that.
No, so you're asking for a
Read
very
the amendment. Just
specific
read it.
line,
Do
and
you
you're
want me to
trying
read
get
it for
away
you? Are
with
you
it.
incapable of reading it? I could read it for you if you want.
No, I can look it up. I don't have it at my fingertips, but I can read it right
Okay,
now.
so you're going to say somewhere in the First Amendment it says you can't use a religion for your reason as your exclusive reason to pass a law. That's
No,
what you're going to say.
You cannot promote one religion over others.
How is that promoting one religion over another if I say my moral framework
if
is
your
being a
only
Christian?
reason, if your only reason for passing a law is because the Bible says so, then that is a violation of the First Amendment.
That's
you
not
can
true.
have other reasons.
That's not true. I'm allowed to use any moral code I want as a politician or as a voter to push any law.
I wonder if Zohran Mamdani, you know, when he starts serving his term as mayor, if he all of a sudden wanted to ban pork at stores. If he wanted to stop, if he wanted to ban selling pork in stores or something like that, I wonder how Godless Engineer would feel about it. Would he be cheering like, "Yeah, woohoo, yeah," or would he be like, "Well, wait a minute, you're using your religion as a moral framework for making these laws"?
There's no law. The First Amendment does not. I can't establish.
If you pass a law,
I can't establish a
and it
national
promotes
religion. That's about it.
religion-
I can't establish a national religion. That's about it. That's not what I'm suggesting. we do.
that's not true.
Okay,
That's not
then
even
you.
true.
I'll read the First Amendment. You tell me the part where it says you can't say, "Hey, I'm voting against abortion because as a Christian, I think that
That's
life
not
is
what I
sacrosanct."
said.
Okay,
That's
if-
not what I said. You keep changing what I'm saying. You're a dishonest interlocutor.
I'm not.
That's
It
what you
seems
are.
that what you're saying is. You correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that.
So the problem is that that's what they say against Rob. Like they're like, "That's not what I'm saying." But Rob asks them plenty of times to specify what they're saying, and they never do, and they always switch it up. That was like one of Dusty's complaints. He's like, "Well, Rob took me out of context and blah blah blah." But Rob, like when he's debating, he asks the person several times, what do you mean? Like, what are you trying to say here? What is your point?" And he does that specifically so that when he counters it, he knows that he's countering it correctly. That way the other person doesn't go, "Well, that's not what I said." And so, but then they all get mad and be like, "Well, you're taking me out of context," or "That's not what I said." Well, yeah, the thing is, I'm watching this and I can see that is what you're saying, or what is it? Because every time he asks you to clarify, you change it up. Same thing with the freaking the Jewsburg lady that called in the other day in his show. Same thing. It's like, so what you're saying is this, and then they go like, "Yes," and then so Rob counters it, and then they go, "Oh, well, that's not what I actually said," and that's exactly why he asks you to specify. That way, you don't backtrack and say, "That's not what I said." And you notice Rob, whenever he replays what they said, he usually replays it word for word, where they can't even deny, "Well, that's not what I said." Like he'll be like, "You just said this, this, and that. So then I said this, this, and this, and then you said this, that, and that, and so that's why I said this." And you can't even counter it because they know that's what they said.
I can't suggest I'm voting for a law because purely my religion.
I'm saying that you can't advance a
See?
law that is only based on your religion.
Okay, so if I say I'm advancing outlawing abortion because I think it's against my religion and it's murder because my religion says so.
Oh, well, your religion doesn't care about killing babies.
It
'cause
doesn't matter what you
kill
think about my
babies.
religion.
Yeah.
I'm giving you my justification for being against abortion is my religion. You're saying I'm not allowed to do that.
I'm saying that you can put that up, but if the only defense you have for it is that particular defense, then yeah, it would be.
Here's what
it
the
would
first-
go against the First
For
Amendment.
those of you that don't know, here's what the First Amendment says, and he's trying to extrapolate this. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. This is not
Right.
establishing
no law
would
respecting
you
an
say that
establishment of religion.
okay, would you say that me saying I'm voting against abortion because of my religion is me establishing a religion?
No, that's not what the establishment of
okay,
religion
so
is.
Yes,
No,
that's
that's not what that means.
you explained to me what they mean
no
by
law, no law respecting an establishment of religion. Not that it establishes a national religion, but it's no law.
All right. I got fast forward. I want to get to the end when they have the vote, because I guess they have a vote and he gets all salty. So let me see. Where do they have the vote?
grotesque, but it would be in a secular situation.
misrepresented what I've said. I've included nuance in my responses, and when he has tried to back me into a corner to give a yes or no answer, I've refused, and I've given what my position is. I tried to clarify that one time, and obviously, as I knew that he would, he strawmanned me. He misrepresented my positions at every single turn, even in his.
That's what they always say. He misrepresented me. Well, make yourself clear, because see, here's the thing. You'll say something like, I don't know, abortion good, and then they'll repeat it back to you. So you think murdering the baby is good? That's what abortion is, right? You think murdering the unborn baby is good, but because they worded it back to you like that, you realize, oh yeah, that doesn't sound nice. So then you'll say something like, well, that's not what I said. I'm just saying that women should have equal rights or some shit, or women should have access to healthcare or some shit like that, because they want to try to respin it to where it sounds nice again, because they don't like it when the other side tells them this is exactly what you're advocating for. It's such slimy behavior. But this is why they always like squirm and wiggle around, and they always change what they just said. Even when we repeat it back to them, they go, well, that's not what I said. They're so slimy.
His conclusion that you just heard, he misrepresented my positions, because like on the abortion thing that we spent way too much time on, he really focused on his whataboutism for killing a fetus that is 2 days from delivery, when I perfectly laid out why that is not a likely situation to occur under my particular model. And under my model, it's the reduction of harm that is.
Oh my God. This guy. That's not my model. Oh, okay. Well, are you the president? Or are you in charge of anything? Are you the mayor, the governor, or something? You say, well, that's not under my model, and he just says why I wouldn't think that happens. Well, it does happen. It has happened.
Key there, and I believe that allowing women to have bodily autonomy and allowing them to choose whether or not they should be pregnant, I think is a key factor.
See, now that he's able to not get any pushback, now he's able to spin his narrative once again. But when he's actually questioned and called on it, he's wiggly, he's squirmy, he's slimy. And he just accuses Rob. No, Rob's taking me in bad faith. He's misconstruing what I said. But he gives him every single chance to perfectly lay out his thoughts and what he's saying.
Factor in providing, to the health and well-being of a society. So basically what we're left with is Rob strawmanning and misrepresenting me all throughout it, me desperately trying to keep him on track as he jumps across and equivocates different ideas.
Yeah, this is some hardcore cope.
And trying to keep up with the conversation that he seems to be having in his own mind, while at the same time I'm sitting there also providing you with a firm foundation in which to build a happy and healthy society that has been shown to work in other countries like Norway, Sweden, other secular societies out there. Putting human welfare, reason, and ethics at the center of it, at the center of our moral foundation, I think is going to give us the best society. It's also going to combat a lot of the negatives that Christian nationalism would introduce, like the persecution of minority groups, the rampant authoritarianism that comes with white Christian nationalism, and other things of that nature. Secular humanism would reduce the harm in a society and promote a good and healthy society.
It's funny how he talks about it reduces the harm in society. Meanwhile, secular humanism endorses abortions. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I think that causes a lot of harm. I don't know about you.
Through reason and justified conclusions for that are based in actual data that represents what's best for a society, so that we can be a more data driven society that actually produces the results that we want. I feel like Rob has a very
good on who is this Breakfast Tacos channel? Good on him for at least acknowledging. All right, man. The people watching, they need a break from this stupidity. So let me just give them a little breather before taking the rest of this in.
Dramatized view of how that's going to play out. He's got a very specific version of Christianity that he's proposing here, but there's no way which he can indicate that that would be the version of Christianity that is selected. And if history has shown us any other way, it's the authoritarian route. It's the route of fundamentalism, because that one seems to always win out for some reason. And I don't think that Rob has actually properly given us anything but arbitrary reasons to pick Christian nationalism. And I'm done.
Perfect. Thank you for the great closing statements, both of y'all.
See you later,
I know,
my God.
John, you said you had to step away after the debate. I appreciate you being here. And Rob, if you want to hang out for a little bit, we usually have an open panel afterwards, get a few small debate or discussion.
Probably midnight. I don't know. I'll probably head out on the open debate. I don't mean to be rude, but just
Oh, paneliverse are gonna be like, see, look, Rob is rage quitting again. See, but man, that was just absolutely embarrassing. Just embarrassing. Godless Engineer has not improved as a debater at all, but he's defending secular humanism. So I mean, there's really not much to defend there. You're not really gonna have a smart worldview there. It's easily debunked. It's been debunked in several debates now. There is no good arguments for it. So of course, he's not going to be good at it, and it's not going to improve. I think Rob Noerr did a great job as always. Rob Noerr is a beast as always. What did you guys think about this? Give this video a like, or else you're gay. Subscribe to my channel, unless you're gay. And also check out the original video down below, and also subscribe to Rob Noerr's channel. There's a link to that in the description as well.